Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this tutorial series, we are building this fitness homepage using Next.js. Now in the previous video, we designed this pricing section over here. And in this video, we will design the footer. So this is how the footer looks. So let's get started. Alright, so here I'm in my source code and let's go to the components folder and let's create a new file called footer.tsx. And as always, let's type export default function footer and let's return a footer. And let's type footer over here. And let's go back to our page.tsx file and let's add the footer right here. So let's type footer. And if you go back to our website, here we can see that footer is being displayed. Now let's go back and let's go to the footer component. Now for this footer tag, let's add some classes. So let's type class name. Let's set the background to secondary. And let's type text neutral 100. So this is the text color. Let's type transition colors. And let's type duration of 300. Now in this, let's create a div. And for this div, let's add some classes. So let's type class name. Let's add a max width of 7XL. Let's type MX auto to bring everything to the center horizontally. Let's type padding left and right of 4. And for medium screens, let's type padding left and right of 6. And for larger screens, let's type padding left and right of 8. And let's type padding top and bottom of 16. So this is how it looks. Now if we go back to our footer, we can see that we have 3 different sections over here. So let's create a div, and in this div, let's add some classes. So let's type class name. Let's set the display to grid, and grid calls 1 for smaller screens, and for tablet or larger screens, let's type grid calls 4, and let's add a gap of 8. Now for the tablet versions and larger screens, we are setting the grid calls to 4 because here we can see that this column over here should span 2 columns, and this is one column and this is another column. So that's why we have set the grid columns to 4. Right now, the first thing we need to do is add this section over here. So let's add a comment. I'll just type brand. And here, let's create a div. In this, let's create an S3 and let's type fit pro fitness. Let's add some classes over here. So let's type class name call span 1. So this is for the smaller screens. And for medium or larger, let's type call span 2. So this will span 2 columns. So here we can see this is the fit pro fitness text and it spans 2 columns. So if you just add a background color over here, so let's type background red of 500. Here we can see that it spans till here. And then we have these 2 columns over here. All right, let's remove this and let's add some classes to this S3. So let's type class name text 3XL for larger text, font black for the font weight, and font heading for the Oswald font, text primary for the text color, and margin bottom of 4. Right now let's add the paragraph. So I'll just copy this from here and let's go back and let's create a p tag. Let's paste the text over here. Let's add some classes. So let's type class name, margin bottom of 6, leading relaxed for the line height, and max width of MD. So here we have the paragraph. And after that, we need to have these icons over here. So for that, let's go back and here, let's go outside the paragraph. Let's create a div and let's add link tags over here. So let's type link and let's import it from next link. And in this, let's go ahead and add the logo. So let's type Instagram and let's import it from Lucide React. And let's go ahead and add class name of width 5 and height 5. And for the link, let's add an href. And for now, I'll just type hash. Later, you can add the link of your social media pages over here. So now if you go back here, we can see that we have the icon displayed over here. Now for the link also, let's add some classes. So let's type class name and let's type width of 10, height of 10, BG of secondary 40 for the opacity, rounded full for rounded corners. And let's set the display to flex items center. And justify center so that it is centered vertically and horizontally. And when you hover over this, we need to set the BG to primary. And let's tap transition, colors, duration of 300. So now if you go back, and if I hover over this, we can see that this is how it looks. So with that, we have added the transition. Now let's go ahead and copy and paste this 2 more times. And for the second one, let's type YouTube. And for the third one, let's type Facebook. So now we can see we have these 3 icons. Now we need to position them one next to the other. So for that, let's go to the container div. Let's add some classes. Let's type display of flex and let's type space x4. So this is how it looks. Right, now let's create the other section, which is the quick links section. So let's go back and let's go outside this div. I think it's this div right here. So let's go outside here. Let's create a comment. I'll just type quick links. And let's create a div, and in that we will have an h4, and here let's type quick links. And let's add some classes. So let's type class name. Let's set the text to large, font to bold, font family to heading, and margin bottom of 4. Right, now let's create a UL for the quick links. And for the UL, let's add some classes. So let's type class name space y of 2. So this is the vertical spacing. And we'll just create an array, and we'll just loop through the array and display the links. So we can go ahead and simply create the array right here. So I'll just create an array. Let's type home. Then we have about. Then we have programs. Then pricing. Then contact. And here let's type dot map. And for each of the links, I'll just call it link. And here I'll just go ahead and return an li. And here just type link. Right, now let's add some classes over here. And before that, let's add a key, because this is a map. So we'll set the key to link because it is also a unique value. And let's add the link inside a link element. So let's type link over here. And let's add it right here. And for the href, we'll just type hash for now. And let's add some classes. So let's type class name, hover, text primary, transition of colors, and duration of 300. So now if you go back, this is how it looks. We can see that we also have the hover effects working. Right, now we need to add the next section, which is the contact info. So let's go back over here and let's go outside this div. Let's create another comment. I'll just type contact info. Let's create a div, and in this, let's create an h4. Let's type contact info. Let's add some classes. So let's type class name, text LG, font bold, font heading, margin bottom of 4. And let's go ahead and create a div over here. And in this div, let's create a paragraph. Let's type strong for a bold text, and let's type phone over here. And let's add a line break, and let's type the phone number over here. I'll just type some random number. And then let's create another paragraph, and let's type strong. Here let's type email, and let's type BR for a line break, and let's type info at fitprofitness.example, and let's type P strong, and then we need to have the location. So let's type location, and here let's type BR, and let's type 123 Fitness Avenue, and let's also add a line break over here, and let's type Healthy City HC 12345. So here we can see this is the contact info. Let's also add some spacing between these info. So let's go over here to the main division, and let's type class name. Let's type space y of 3. So now it looks all right. And now the last thing we need to add is this text over here. So I'll just copy this. Let's go back and let's go outside this div right here. And here let's create another div. Let's paste the text inside a paragraph. Let's add some classes over here. So let's type class name, border top, border color to secondary 40, and let's type padding top of 12. Let's also bring it to the center, text center. Let's also set the color to text neutral 400. So this is how it looks. Let's increase the padding top a little bit. So let's type 18, or let's type 20. So this is how it looks. And with that, we have designed our footer. Let's take a look at the mobile version. And this is how it looks on a smaller screen. So everything is working all right. Alright, so that's basically it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.